This programme is the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli.
From Donington Park we arrive at Brands Hatch, racing on the legendary Grand Prix circuit here for the second event of the 2021 Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. The cars are about to go out for qualifying. Let's go down and talk to some of the drivers and get the latest stories. Great to welcome Jesse Chamberlain to the Porsche Club Championship paddock. Jesse, we know each other, I think, from Ginetta Racing. What made you make the move here into Porsche?
So basically, we were going GT4 with the 718, the Caymans Porsche Sprint Challenge. Unfortunately, budget. As a lot of guys have found it this year quite hard. We've done two guest rounds of this a couple of years back. We really enjoyed the championship, and it's really well run. You know, we've got some really good guys here in SW Engineering. We've decided to go with JCR this year and be in association with SW. Keeps you active, keeps you productive, keeps your name relevant, and you know, it's good fun.
Rich Ellis, tell us about this car, new car to you for this season.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a car that's been in the championship for a few years, and I got it off Craig Wilkins, who used to run it. But it's new to me. We've had to do a few little changes, get it a bit more reliable. It had a few issues early on, and we're still sort of developing me and the car at the same time, really.
Some good racing in the first event, and you had a great dice, I think, a couple of times with Richard Baston.
Yeah, Richard Baston. We had some good close racing, and it bodes well for today, really. I think we should be close again, I imagine.
Jake Macker, first chance to have a catch-up for this season. First of all, maybe reflections on our first round at Donington Park.
I think for us, we made some changes over the winter, and I think as it turns out, we perhaps went the wrong way. Didn't get the results we wanted, but I think this weekend we were in much better shape. The car was well set up, and we had a lot more pace in it, to be honest with you. I think I made an error or two and then traffic, and I'm sure everyone else will say the same, but really happy with the car today, and I think we did a good job. Ashley White, welcome along to Brands Hatch. Is this your first time here?
It's the first time running the GP circuit yet, so we've just been out for qualifying. We've just had a bit of a misfire on the engine, which the lads are currently sorting now, so hopefully we can qualify to 7th, so hopefully we can make some places up in the race.
The Cup very well supported, and you've got some real competition in there.
Yeah. Some of the lads are regular faces, but it's good to see some new faces, and so some of the new lads are really, really quick, to be fair. So yeah, looking forward to the race.
Paul Simpson, class champion, probably a progression that some of the Boxster Cup drivers are going to be looking at moving up, and so apart from the changing tyres, what other changes have you found, and what are they easy to adapt to?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very competitive up in Class 2. Clearly, you know, there's some very fast drivers out there, so that takes a bit of getting used to. You know, I think it's a bit more competitive, so yeah.
Andy, good to see you here, and also getting some decent, meaningful times in today. Obviously much better than Donington. What went wrong there?
Yeah, so we had a few issues we were testing on the Friday, and at the end of qualifying we had an immense amount of smoke, which we traced back to a fault with the one of the plugs in the engine. So we thought we got it fixed, ready for the first race, but it let go in spectacular style on the start line. So testing yesterday, engine seems strong, and having a good day today.
Andy Muggeridge lines up in 4th position in Class 2, so hopefully in fine fettle this weekend. The front of the grid, Mark Mackler and Simon Clark. We're panning back to show you this magnificent entry. Over 30 cars about to do battle on the Grand Prix circuit here at Brands Hatch. The circuit itself is a big attraction, but of course if the formula wasn't right in the first place, the drivers wouldn't come onto the grid and join us. Confirmation of the grid for you. McAleer and Clark on the front row, Pete Morrison, Jake McAleer on row 2, then Chris Dyer and James Cayley. Class 2 headed by Matt Kyle Henney from Paul Simpson, Richard Styron and the aforementioned Andy Muggeridge. Class 3, it's Will Heslop on pole from Alistair Nelson. Mike Thompson is third on the grid. Richard Forber fourth in class for the classic Boxsters. So ready for the start here at Brands Hatch. 2 races again for you on the bill. The lights go out. Very quick start. That was Kevin Harrison back from row 4. Made a very quick start. So too does Richard Styron, passing the championship leader. Round the outside goes Richard Styron. He's cleared Matt Kyle Henney. Now, was that another disappointing start from Matt? Well, it can't be too bad because he's challenging Richard Ellis. But Kevin Molyneux has got through ahead of him as well. So I think Styron leading class 2 from Kevin Molyneux. Look at that. Styron very wide round on the outside of Druids. But look at the size of these cars. There are many, many of them. And the cars are beautiful. The driving standards are beautiful as well because they've all gone round pretty much 2/3 of the Indy circuit without any problems at all, and they'll feed. Round the outside goes Richard Ellis on Matt Kyle Henney. Those two having a great battle already. So they go through Surtees and then climbing uphill, they'll come down Pilgrim's Drop, up Hawthorne Hill. So there's the bottom of Pilgrim's Drop, up Hawthorne Hill now into Hawthorne Bend. Short straight down into Westfield. On the outside line there is James Cayley. Kevin Harrison to his inside. Race leaders already, and through on the inside into the lead goes Simon Clark. Simon Clark in the Cayman grabs the lead from double winner Mark McAleer. Great achievement from Mark getting pole position today, clearly on a roll from Donington, but it's Simon Clark that goes through into the lead, and it's 997 second and third, Cayman fourth with Jake McAleer. Well, the gap was there, and Simon Clark just pounced second in qualifying. He was 2/10 down on Mark McAleer in qualifying, and it's the Cayman that's going to lead at the end of lap number 1 as they come through the Clark curve onto Brabham Straight. As you can see, we're still racing behind closed doors at the moment. COVID protocols still in evidence in the paddock and pits as we ride on board with Paul Simpson, former Class 3 champion, as you heard in the interviews, and stepping ably up into Class 2. The Class 3 really has been a success, starting as the Resto Racing Championship a few seasons ago, and now the classic Boxster class, which is bringing drivers into racing, and then they feel that they can move up, and it's borne fruit already, that idea. So fair play to the club for doing that. As we ride in car very briefly with Ashley White coming out of Druids down Graham Hill. There is Richard Styron just at the front of this group. Richard Ellis trying to challenge the second place Class 2 man there, Kevin Molyneux in the 33. Matt Kyle Henney hasn't lost out too much. As you can see, he was with Rich Ellis and still dicing with him at the moment. So in with the shout of a podium. But there's the Class 2 leader, Richard Styron, going through. Mike Thompson working hard. That's Andy Baker that he's chasing at the moment in the 28. And this is Alistair Nelson in car number 21, the Class 3 Boxster. So going through Sheen Curve, they'll head down to Stirling's, and then it's sort of heading back towards the Indy circuit, which is where the Class 1 runners are at the moment. And crossing the line again, it is still Simon Clark in front, Mark McAleer in second position. And good conditions here today. The only thing, literally, the only thing we're missing is a crowd to be able to watch this magnificent racing as Matt Kyle Henney tries to close in on Kevin Molyneux. This is the battle for second place in Class 2. Matt, of course, cutting his teeth last year and the season before. There's Will Heslop dicing with the number 8. That's Stephen Morrison in the number 8 car. Could be forgiven for thinking he was dicing with the 21, Alistair Nelson, similar colour scheme, the red and white. But Will is ahead and clear at the moment. Kevin Molyneux starting to come under a little bit of pressure. And this group here, Paul Simpson, having to work hard. Bill Cayley behind him in the number 12 Class 2 Boxster. And then it's Paul Seagrave in his Class 1 996. So plenty of battles happening on track at the moment. Paul Simpson on for a good P4 again. Bill Cayley, who was of course a podium finisher last year, you might remember. We had several first-time winners in Class 2. And talking about that move from Class 3, we can get the drivers that can move up from 3 to 2. Equally, over the course of a couple of seasons, you might get drivers wanting to move from Class 2 into Class 1. And that doesn't mean so you can't move from the classic Boxsters into Class 1, as Matt Kyle-Henny here is getting racy. Looks to the outside line as they go along the straight. Kevin Molyneux defends the outside line, maybe looking to get a faster run through into Paddock Hill Bend. There isn't room for Matt Kyle-Henny. Look at the speed as they go into Paddock Hill Bend. Chris Dyer, former champion, the chaser here in the Cayman, chasing Kevin Harrison. Good to see Kevin back. Meanwhile, you can see Matt Kyle-Henny is very definitely giving Kevin Molyneux a workout. He's going to, I think, poke his nose down the inside line as they went down into Graham Hill Bend. Race leaders, though, settling into a pattern here. Simon Clark is clear from Mark McAleer in second place. Pete Morris in third. Kevin Harrison still there ahead of Chris Dyer, just working through Stirling's Bend. They'll head down towards Clearways once again. Stephen Morrison racing well still in the number 8. Golf livery of Julian Morris at the head of that group. Julian, of course, moving up from Class 3 into Class 2. Will Heslop, the leading Class 3 man, getting stuck into some of the Class 2 boys and makes a neat pass through on the inside. Richard Styring, the leader of Class 2, working well in the 99 car. I've lost count of how many race wins he's had in his Boxster career. This, of course, only his second meeting with the Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. Meanwhile, third place is Matt Kyle-Henny, busy chasing Kevin Molyneux. Through Clark Curve they come, and you can see Matt Kyle-Henny is under no pressure behind, so he can explore different lines, gets a good run out of Clark Curve onto Brabham Straight. Meanwhile, Andy Baker under pressure from Richard Forber. Richard acquitting himself very well in Class 3, a newcomer to racing, and thoroughly enjoying it. In terms, you speak to him in the paddock, absolutely loving the racing. Stephen Shaw ahead of Ashley White. Only one retirement so far, two I beg your pardon, Jesse Chamberlain and Bill Cayley. We weren't expecting Jesse to do too many laps, but he did want to get out on track to get the starting points. Very sensible stuff, because you never know, might be in with the shout of championship points later on in the season. As we go side by side, it's going to be an outside run, is it, to Hawthorne Bend? This is brave stuff from Matt Kyle-Henny, and respectful stuff as well from Kevin Molyneux, who loses out. Paul Simpson's in the mix now, goes through as well. Paul Simpson up into third place. Now, has Kevin Molyneux got a problem? He's dropped back, lost 2 places in rapid succession there, very sadly. So Kevin Molyneux with work to do. Is Paul Seagrave immediately behind. Kevin Harrison still there, up ahead of Chris Dyer, 6th and 7th place at the moment. It's Clark from McAleer, Pete Morris, Jake McAleer fourth, James Cayley next up from Kevin Harrison. Fascinating inter-class racing as ever in this championship. And Chris Dyer wants to try and get past the boost oxygen car of Kevin Harrison. They go out of Druid, so a very competitive 996 Cayman battle. Stephen Shaw still under a bit of pressure as well from Ashley White. Paul Seagrave had a retirement at Donington in the second race, was 13th in the first race. Now we have some sort of problem. We'll try and pick up and see what that is for you, but that's going to negate overtaking on one part of the set. It's not full course yellows, because just having a look as they came out of Stirling's corner, there weren't any yellows there, and none in evidence where we're looking at the moment as Chris Dyer continues to try and close down. You saw another Strasser livery car following them. That's Richard Bayston running it in 8th place. So Stephen Shaw to the right of shot in 49. We have got a safety car, and I think Ashley White made the pass. Did he make it complete just before they took the yellow flag there? Paul Simpson still chasing back Kyle Henney. That is all going to close up, isn't it, between those two? Stephen Shaw goes back in front. Richard Styron's got his hand out of the window and loses a big lead. Now these two, fair play to them. I think they're being very gentlemanly, saying no, when the safety car came out I was in front, no you were. But they'll sort themselves out, I'm sure. Safety car lights are out. We're ready to go racing again. So great work by the rescue crews and marshals and officials here. And it's work to do for Simon Clark. I think the biggest class lead was perhaps Richard Styron. So he's used to this scenario, of course, as the safety car pulls into pit lane. We're about to go racing. Remember, they won't be able to overtake. I tell you what, that is a very good restart by Simon Clark, who gets away very, very quickly indeed. Very possibly aided by the fact that Vince Blacker was there as well. Vince, new driver to the championship. Hopefully we'll catch up with him before the meeting is out, running in Class 2 in the 64 car. And Mark McAleer now under pressure, as you can see from Pete Morris. There's a little bit of rain, isn't there? There are wipers in evidence and spits and spots on our cameras, so that could well catch a few people out. Pete Morris has got his wipers on, not quite full tilt, but they are on. I don't think at the moment it's enough to cause any big problems for the race, and I wonder if it was that caused the problem that had the safety car coming out. Ashley White dives down the inside line of John Alexander, and John coming under pressure from Stephen Shaw now. John running in his Class 1 Cayman S, and of course the safety car gives us this sight of all the cars brought together again. It's exciting for spectators to see everything bunched up. It can be frustrating for drivers, but when you think it's all about safety, then it's probably a double positive. There's our race leader Simon Clark, who also has the fastest lap way back on lap 6, 1:38.480. Matt Kyle Henney quickest in Class 2. Unsurprisingly, perhaps Will Heslop fastest in Class 3 at the present time. Has left us with 2nd, 3rd and 4th fairly much together, and Mark McAleer crosses the line ahead of Pete Morris. Now this is the lead group in Class 2. Kevin Molyneux has had the opportunity to close up a little bit now, and it's Paul Simpson, his target. Simpson in the black and white car. Molyneux closing in. Matt Kyle Henney defending that 2nd place now, so it's added a different complexion to Class 2. Class 1 Simon Clark with that demon restart, read that absolutely superbly, and here is Matt Kyle Henney, who goes very deep into Druids. That leaves the door open for Paul Simpson to have a look for 2nd place, but Matt knows that he's got the outside line on the exit of Druids. Inside as they come down into Graham Hill Bend. Kevin Molyneux has a look as well, couldn't quite do it, pops the brakes on, loses a little bit of momentum, does Kevin, as they go along Cooper Straight into Surtees again, and Richard Styron under pressure for the lead. So great 4-way scrap for the lead in Class 2, 3-way battle in Class 1 with Jake McAleer, who I think has found his form, as we said in the interview with him at the start of the programme, and looking very good indeed. There's Peter Evans in his Class 3 Boxster. Peter actually running a couple of places higher than he did at Donington Park, so great progress from him, and we look forward to him continuing to build on that as the season progresses. We're at Snetterton next time, 5th of June, 3rd of July we're at Alton Park, Silverstone 14th of August, then Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, rounds 11 and 12 on the 5th of September, and we wind up this season's proceedings in October at Snetterton. However, we are now on to the last lap, and it looks like Simon Clark has got this one in the bag as Jake McAleer looks to the outside line. There's Will Heslop, the Class 3 leader, still very much clear. Now, what about Class 2? It's Paul Simpson in 2nd place at the moment, chasing Richard Styron, who leads. it really is a job to know where to look. So Class 1 second place. Mark McAleer's got a little bit of a gap now. The black and blue car on a big slide there from Jake McAleer, runs a little bit wide. James Cayley was off the gas there. It very clearly is getting slippery out there, and of course the cars are going to be on the dry setup, so it's not the easiest thing to negotiate the cars round for this final lap, and that's the case for Paul Simpson, who has the gyration, unfortunately facing the wrong way. That's not the best position to be in. We hope that that ends well. It hasn't ended well for Paul Simpson, but it could be worse. I hope he doesn't collect anybody. But meanwhile, on the Grand Prix loop, and Pete Morris is looking up the inside line. He'll want to make sure he gets that car to the finish, but he's very definitely harrying Mark McAleer. And I don't think I mentioned in the Donington programme that Mark's second win was his 50th win in the championship. So congratulations, Tim. I'm not sure if he was aware of that stat. But I was reminded in the paddock this morning by Ross Morris. So thank you, Ross. And that just goes to show the respect that obviously the Morris family have for the McAleer family and vice versa in this championship. But Simon Clark leads them through clearways for the last time in the third race of the 2021 Petro-Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli, and takes the checkered flag there. It's a win for Simon Clark. Mark McAleer will take second place, Pete Morris third, Jake McAleer in fourth, James Cayley very close in fifth place, then Kevin Harrison side by side across the line with Chris Dyer, who finishes seventh, Richard Baston eighth ahead of Richard Ellis, who is ninth, then 10th place 99 Richard Styrin wins Class 2. There is our overall winner, Simon Clark, win and fastest lap. Didn't get pole position to go with that. Will Heslop crosses the line there in the Pink Pig to take the Class 3 win. And well clear was Will Heslop from Richard Forber in second place, Alistair Nelson third in Class 3. Here is confirmation of the result. We've already run through, I think, the top 10. Richard Styrin winning Class 2. He was 10th from Matt Carl-Henny, second in class. Kevin Molyneux taking third in Class 2. Fourth was Andy Muggeridge. Paul Simpson recovering for fifth. The Class 3s, William Heslop from Richard Forber, Alistair Nelson and Mike Thompson.
Simon Clark, continuing great form from last season here on the Brands Hatch GP circuit. Cracking result, well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it's we're really pleased with that.
Difficult race, safety car came in and changed things around slightly.
It was the rain that I was concerned about actually, and I was a bit concerned initially that if I backed off a bit, Mark might beat the fastest lap. But then I thought the conditions are worsening, so I thought we'd be okay. But yeah, no, it was good.
Mark McAleer, congratulations. Still on the podium, but P2 for that one from Simon.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we had an idea it was going to be quite a Cayman track, but I didn't help myself because I missed the gear out the back, which obviously let Simon past. He probably had the pace anyway. I think we were quite close. I don't think there was a great deal in it. But there you go, a good result still. Still a good result. Second on the. On a circuit we've never done any good at, so I think we've got to be very happy with that.
We gapped third place. I was happy with third. I wanted the podium. I haven't got the pace for the Cayman. And then the safety car came out. We had a back marker behind us, a novice between first novice, and then me and Mark. So we can't overtake until the finish line beyond the safety car. So happy to be on the podium, and I better say happy birthday to my darling wife because it's her birthday today, and we're doing a bank holiday again. Racing. So
Richard Styrin, 2 wins on the bounce, a great introduction to the championship, and tell us the story of that race.
I knew that Matt was incredibly quick and Paul Simpson. The only chance I had was disrupting their rhythm. They're both on an open lap, incredibly quick, know the way round Brands. So I got a very good start and I could see them all fighting, and then we had a bit of rain and a safety car, and it's exactly what motorsport's about. Loved it.
Matt Cole-Henny, I hope you'll forgive me the question, but was it a dodgy start again?
It wasn't. I'm not entirely sure what happened. I have to look at the data, but I got swamped into turn 1 and lost a good chunk of positions, and then I had to make those up into turn 2. So interesting start to the race, but clawed it back towards the end, so happy.
Kevin Molyneux, 100% record on the podium and quite a frenetic race there for you.
Oh yeah, no, really good. Yeah, my qualifying wasn't too good, but we had a great start, managed to pull away, and yeah, we was away. Good start.
Good stuff with Paul Simpson, great race with him, and also Matt Kyle-Henny. So I mean, it's just such a close top 4 or 5, isn't it, in Class 2?
Yeah, Matt and Carl are exceptionally quick. So Matt come up behind me, I had to defend him for 3/4 of the race, and fair play to Simpson, he snuck up me inside and took me and put me back to 4th. So yeah, 2nd to 4th in about 5 seconds.
Will Heslop, 3 out of 3, only driver to have a 100% unbeaten record so far this year. Well done, great race.
Yeah, perfect really, perfect start. I got boxed in at the start off of some of the Class 2s, and then I managed to pick my way through, and then got a bit of clear air, then had a little bit of a battle. So it was nice, straightforward race, should we say. And then obviously the safety car come out, then we had a bit of rain, but no, perfect. The car's still as it left this morning. Yeah, a good day.
Richard Forber, many congratulations. Your second race meeting and your first ever podium. That's what Boxster Cup is about in many ways. Congratulations. Tell us about your race.
Can't really quite believe it, if I'm honest. It was really good. The start was all right. I got the jump on on probably 2 or 3 cars, and then from the first corner was pretty hectic, to be honest, and managed to just stick on the inside for the second, the hairpin right, and away we went. We followed the pack and ended up second. It's unbelievable.
Alistair Nelson, well done, 3rd place, so another 100% podium record intact in Class 3. Well done. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, indeed. We qualified in 2nd place, so a little bit disappointed to drop back to the 3rd place. But it was a tough race, and we did all right. I'm glad that we didn't get any damage, and we managed to finish, like you say. So just keeping the podium finishes coming.
A very warm welcome to the championship, Vince Blacker. Got your first race finish. What's your racing history?
I haven't really got one, really. I did a bit of karting when I was 40, and this is the first time I've ever been here, raced at this car. I've never driven this car before I came here today, so it's been a learning curve.
Well, that is some leap, isn't it? Going out on Brands Hatch GP circuit as well. Have you had any tuition?
Yeah, company Neil from iZone at Silverstone has been coaching me on my sim rig. And it's really been a benefit, because without that I would have been blind here. So I'm really appreciative of all the work he's put in, and it's made a massive difference.
Well, we're grateful for that too, because it's good to see you on the grid in a very competitive Class 2, but a big leap for you.
Massive compared to a road car. I mean, I've never driven a car with slicks on before, and the amount of grip that you can get out of them, takes some getting used to. Because you're not used to a car being able to stick to the ground like that and go around corners like that. So that's the learning curve, is to how far you can push that.
Well, pole position for this race is Simon Clark. It was that close in qualifying, but the second fastest lap, the fastest of the second fastest laps, was Simon Clark from Pete Morris. Jake McAleer third on the grid from James Cayley, then Chris Dyer and Mark McAleer. Class 2 headed by Matt Kyle Henney from Paul Simpson, Richard Styrin and then Andy Muggeridge. Class 3 again, Will Heslop from Alistair Nelson. Richard Forber is third from Mike Thompson. Peter Evans fifth in Class 3. Stephen Shaw in 6th. Ashley White in 7th in Class 3. So ready for the 4th race of the season, about to get underway. The lights are on. It's a longish wait once again. Out go the lights. Super start by Pete Morris from the outside of the front row. Kevin Harrison in the silver and green car was looking to squeeze up the inside as he did in race number 1, but there wasn't room there, and he erred on the side of caution. I think you've got to say, quite rightly. Up on the inside line goes Andy Muggeridge. Around the outside goes Kevin Molyneux of our in-car shot there. Molyneux in green. Richard Styrin is up there as well, I think in 2nd position in class. We'll have to check out the Class 2. 4 wide at Druids, and round the outside goes Will Heslop, the class leader. Or is he the class leader? Because I can see Alistair Nelson ahead of him. Off goes Ashley White in the 46. Trying to catch up with everything that's going on. Incredible. Here is Alistair Nelson. Now, is Alistair in? He isn't, because that's Andy Baker in front. So Alistair is leading in the Porsche Centre Wilmslow car, leading Class 3. So we may well see an upset here on the cards. Will Heslop's unbeaten record is at stake here. The race leaders heading towards Hawthorne Bend for the first time. Up Hawthorne Hill they go. There is Richard Ellis again in the number 3 car. Kevin Molyneux is down behind him. Matt Kyle Henney, the Class 2 leader in yellow and black, I think, at the minute. Through goes Mark McAleer, Chris Dyer, then Kevin Harrison. A bit of a gap back to Richard Baston. And we saw Simon Clark working hard, had a look at Pete Morris, couldn't quite get through. But super start by Pete Morris, brilliant start from him. There in 78 is Richard Forber again. But the battle for the lead is far from done. It's Pete Morris out front at the moment, 997 leading Cayman, and we'll see whether Simon Clark can go through. Goes high and wide into Paddock Hill Bend. He's going to look for the cutback, and the momentum up the hill. Looks to the inside line, but Pete Morris comes across. Fair move from Pete Morris. Great challenge as well from Simon Clark. Back in third place, impressive third, is James Cayley in the number 11. Cayley followed by son and father McAleer. Jake heading his dad at the moment. Nice to see Jake getting that little bit of form, and all 5 of them together. Early stages of the race. Here is Richard Styrin busy chasing Matt Kyle Henney for top honours again in Class 2. Will Heslop clears Andy Baker. The Pink Pig chasing the red and white car is the leader in Class 3. In car again with Simon Clark. Very calm looking, isn't he, behind the wheel? But the speed's incredible. The onboard shot's absolutely amazing. And he's under pressure from James Cayley. Chris Dyer renewing battle Kevin Harrison here. Chris, of course, former champion. Kevin Harrison chasing hard. Top 7, very little to pick between those guys at the moment. Baston being chased by Matt Cole-Henny, the leader in Class 2. There is James Cayley, losing a little bit of ground at the moment on the top 2, but defending from Jake McAleer, which is probably why, as we watch Cole Hazelton in the Porsche Centre Chester car working hard in Class 2 now. Of course, that was a Class 3 car originally. And this the battle for the lead in Class 3. Alistair Nelson in red looking to upset the form book. Meanwhile, Pete Morris looking to upset, I can't say a run from Simon Clark, but Simon the winner in race number 1 and the pole man here. But that was a great start by Pete Morris. People talk about the outside line being, you know, favourable sometimes here at Brands Hatch, but it ain't that easy, particularly in a Porsche. And it's just not that easy anyway. So a superb start by Pete Morris to outgun Simon Clark. Let's just watch and making a move now. Will Heslop dives down the inside line. Watch to the right. There is the new class leader in Class 3. Will Heslop goes through and past Alistair Nelson, who'll fight back. Looks up the inside line under the Burton Bridge. Can't quite do it. And Will Heslop here has had to work hard for that. Gets into lead position. Alistair Nelson relegated to second. There's the third place car, not the orange and silver one. That's Andy Baker, Class 2, being chased hard by Richard Forber, who wants to get past the Class 2 car and get stuck in for potentially second, maybe first, in Class 3. Kevin Harrison still working hard out onto the Grand Prix, heading down towards Westfield. Then it's downhill in towards Dingle Dell. Simon Clark seems very much at home on the Grand Prix Loop, as it's called here at Brands Hatch. And the top 5 actually all looking very evenly matched at the moment as we again follow the runners down through Stirling's Bend, downhill again into Clearways, and then back to tick off another lap. And Pete Morris is holding on very well here, the multi-champion in the Petro Canada Lubricants Porsche Club Championship with Pirelli. Morris still out front, crosses the line again, under pressure still from Simon Clark. We look back, remember 3 classes in this race, and we pick up the leading Class 2 car in black and yellow. Richard Starr in second in the 99, under pressure from Class 2 rival Paul Simpson. We'll come back to that because Mark McAleer looks around the outside line of his son Jake. Jake, I'm sure, will give him room, and Mark, I think, was going to grab the inside as I went to Graham Hill Bend. Back to second place. There is Matt Kyle-Henny trying to get past the Strasser car of Richard Baston, because what he doesn't want is to leave room for Richard Styrin to close up and challenge. Now, whilst it's great to watch the leading Class 2s getting stuck in some of the Class 1s, great for the spectators, great for our viewers, it can be frustrating for the drivers that are trying to defend places. Sadly, Rich Ellis pulls into pit lane, so maybe a problem for him. James Cayley still running in third and not losing ground as Carl Hazelton continues to battle it out with Mike Thompson. Hazelton, remember, Class 2. Mike Thompson is in Class 3. The black and yellow car working hard at the moment. Onto the GP loop they go again. Meanwhile, Pete Morris out the front. The Strasser prepared number 2 still there. And Simon Clark's having a look, comes offline. Meanwhile, Alistair Nelson coming under pressure from Richard Forber. So the cars nearest to camera as they were going away from us, 2nd and 3rd in Class 3. James Cayley 3rd overall. James trying to close in. That's a problem for Richard Styron, sadly. Richard Styron slowing up, so we're definitely going to have a different winner in Class 2. Took a win at Donington, did Richard. First win of the day here, but it looks like a retirement for him as Simon Clark is past. James Cayley goes right to the outside line. Very wide indeed, therefore, Jake McAleer. And James Cayley has got up into 2nd place. Superb move by James Cayley. And Simon Clark is relegated to 3rd. But for how long? He's out wide there. A little bit of track limits, perhaps. He's gone wide and back through on the inside line. Now up into 3rd place. From 5th at the start is Mark McAleer. Incredible stuff going on. There is the limping number 99 car. Richard Styron keeping to the outside of the circuit. He knows that he has got the Class 3 cars and some Class 2 cars coming up behind him. Pulls to the outside of the track. He seems to be struggling on because he's passed the pit lane once already. This is the battle for 2nd in Class 3. Meanwhile, Andy Muggeridge in Class 2 chasing Paul Simpson. And then the black and yellow car, or the yellow and black car, it's predominantly yellow, Matt Kyle-Henny leading class, up ahead of them. Hasn't been able to get past Richard Bayston, but is still very much in the mix and in the class lead. Will Heslop is challenging Julian Morris here. So it's the Class 3 leader in pink challenging some of the Class 2 runners. 2nd and 3rd in Class 3, right behind. Alistair Nelson under pressure from Richard Forber. Heslop starting to develop a little bit of a class lead at the moment. Richard Styron struggling round in the TF99 box to the race 1 winner. Catching up with him is Ashley White. Meanwhile, we go back to the Class 3 leader. He's going to try and close in on these 2 Class 2 machines, and this is the difficult thing. He's running on less efficient tyres, it has to be said, and Julian Morris has to keep his eye on the car in front and the battle that he's involved in, and indeed on the advances of Will Heslop right behind. Heslop taking wide line in. He's got a bit of breathing space behind him, but a pretty handy two car battles going on with Will Heslop, the meat in the sandwich, trying to close in as Richard Styron makes it to the pits, which I guess is the good news, but not great for his championship standings. The drop scores are something that he'll be looking at very keenly after that retirement. We're looking now, and that's a nasty looking, well, not accident, but a nasty looking set of damage on Mike Thompson's car. Marshals, as you can see, very quickly offering the thumbs up as Will Heslop makes a dive down the inside line and gets it all going again. Now, was that a dive down the inside? Looks like Richard Forber was out front. It's all academic, really, because the red flags are out. The race is going to be brought to a stop because there is a lot of detritus on track, as you can see. Julian Morris, one of the cars involved there on the left of shot, and Mike Thompson. Marshall's looking after those guys. Ready for our restart here after some great work by the race officials, marshals and rescue crews. Away we go, and Pete Morris does it again. He did it from the outside on the first start and does it from the inside line in the second one. James Cayley is around the outside and tucks into 4th place. Here's Matt Kyle-Henny busy challenging Kevin Harrison. Meanwhile, the 2 race leaders are heading up towards Druids for the first time, and Pete Morris with Simon Clark looking down the inside line of Mark McAleer. Mark, if he holds his ground, will have the inside into Graham Hill Bend, and I think he's lost it. So it's good momentum by Simon Clark. McAleer is in 3rd place, but still on a potential podium. James Cayley behind him, and in car with Simon Clark chasing Pete Morris into Surtees. Well, hats off to Morris. Brilliant start from the outside of the front row. First time around here in race 2, and he's done it again. He's got to soak up the pressure now from Simon Clark for the remainder of this race. We have lost a few cars, very sadly, but it's Morris out front. Simon Clark, Mark McAleer, James Cayley in 5th. Saw some good moves from James earlier on. Jake McAleer is in 5th position. Through goes Will Heslop. And Simon Clark again all over the back of the 997. Challenging hard. There is Kevin Molyneux in green ahead of the yellow and black Matt Kyle Henny machine, battling it out hard in Class 2. Matt, I think that's Chris Dyer who has gone. That's a shame for Chris Dyer, second in the championship coming to Brands Hatch. Richard Styrin was, I think, leading Class 2 points-wise after his win in Race 1, because it was a single point between him and Matt Carhenny as they came into the meeting, so that's going to change round again. Simon Clark still chasing. Mark McAleer having a look as well, goes wide into Paddock Hill Bend, trying to close down on the Cayman. They go up the hill. Simon Clark looking to try and make the outside line work here on Pete Morris, but Pete Morris is rightly having none of it. Comes out a little bit wide at Druids. He's going to take Clark with him, and Simon Clark realised that he wasn't going to get the manoeuvre done down the inside line into Graham Hill Bend. The Thomson Reuters car holds on to second place from the Wilson's Auctions 14997 of Mark McAleer. So we look a little bit further back. John Alexander in his Cayman, thoroughly enjoying his racing. You can see from the black cross on the back of the car, a new driver. As I said earlier on, you don't have to be as a new driver coming into Class 3 or Class 2, as off goes, I think that's Ashley White who's got off there in the 46, embedded in the gravel. Now, is that going to be a safety car? Maybe another stoppage, possibly. Stephen Shaw up ahead of Carl Hazelton in the Porsche Centre Chester machine. Class 2 driver, of course, and Stephen Shaw heading him at the moment. Stephen in Class 3. Of course, the drivers that move from Class 3 to Class 2 have to adapt. Now, here they come across the line, and side by side for the race lead, and getting his nose in front there is Simon Clark, but Pete Morris responds to the inside line. Now we've got Mark McAleer coming up into the mix as well, and here's Simon Clark. Watch for McAleer on the right. Are we going to see McAleer make the challenge? I think Clark has got across. Had enough momentum, he does have enough, but now Jake McAleer coming into the mix as well. But as they went across the line, Simon Clark had his nose momentarily in front, but Pete Morris has got the lead back here. The PMC car still in lead position from Simon Clark in P2. What a fight these two are happening. Will Heslop goes through. Look at the gap that he's developed between second and third. Alistair Nelson and Richard Forber having a very good battle again in Class 3. This is for second position again. Meanwhile, back to the overall lead. Class 1, Pete Morris is still there. Simon Clark second. Mark McAleer in third, veteran of 50 race wins in the championship. Jake McAleer, his son, right behind him. Super racing from the championship. Kevin Molyneux very much in the mix in Class 2 as well. Andy Baker about to put in a challenge on Alistair Nelson, so Andy getting more confidence in his Class 2 machine. It's Paul Simpson incidentally leading Class 2 from Kevin Molyneux and Matt Carhenny. So here they come again with Pete Morris out front. Are we going to see the attack again from Simon Clark as they cross the line again? It was Morris leading that time around, and Simon Clark must be wondering what he can do to get past. He can get his nose in front. If he does that on the final lap, he'll be quids in and take the win as they cross the line, but he'd like to have a clear move done before then, as Jake McAleer runs a little bit wide and Mark McAleer's going to go through. So Mark McAleer back up into fourth place. James Cayley running in third at the moment, and this is the battle for, well, we've got all three cars in shot if you count the onboard shot here of Matt Carhenny, third in Class 2, Kevin Molyneux in green, second in class ahead of him, and immediately ahead of both of those, Paul Simpson in the 88 car, leading class, last year's Class 3 champion, moving up. Is he going to grab a win in Class 2? It is still, and we've got red flags again. The red flags are out, and I'm wondering if that is for Ashley White's car, in which case the result will go back to the lap before that happened, which could see Simon Clark take the race win. The marshals have been unable to extricate the car from the gravel. They will do their level best to do so, but I don't think they've been able to do it in time. It's a red flag and it's going to be a checker as well, and indeed the result goes back to the lap Simon Clark had his nose in front, the closest ever finish in the championship history. Pete Morris second from Mark McAleer. Class 2 won by Paul Simpson from Kevin Molyneux and Matt Kyle Henny. Will Heslop wins Class 3. Second in Class 3 goes to Alistair Nelson from Richard Forber.
Simon Clark, a double here at Brands Hatch GP. Is it your favourite track?
Yeah, I think it's up there with Alton Park probably. But yeah, it's a great circuit for me and for the Cayman. It's going to be tight, and I needed to put a couple of wins to stay in contention really. So yeah, it's always close, and that's why we come back and race in Porsche Club.
I mean, I'm a bit gutted, and like he starts thinking I'm not going to have second place. I deserve first, but it is what it is. But I think if you looked at footages and yellow wave flags and bits and pieces, it was marginal. I mean, but I thought the win was mine, really did. So gutted.
Tell us about your race, backwards and forwards.
There was that much going on, to be honest with you. I couldn't even think what was happening. I remember being very close with Jake. Had a cracking start, I mean, we had obviously 2 wins and a second and a third. So yeah, it's a cracking start to the season.
It's been really good fun, really exciting. So yeah, happy to have got my first win in Class 2. I thought it wasn't ever going to happen, to be fair. I know it's only the 4th race, but yeah, moving up from Class 3 into Class 2, the driving standards, they're very good drivers, and I thought that maybe I was a little bit out of my depth, but yeah, brilliant. Home track, so I'm really happy.
Oh, that was a really good race, that one. I've had a good day, to be honest. I've like twice on the podium, but that was a lucky one on the podium there, to be honest, because of the red flag. I got a restart and had a good start and got away and defended, so yeah, I'm pleased with that.
You drivers always say lucky, but you've got to be out there, you've still got to pedal it.
Oh yeah. I had to pedal it, and it was a bit ballsy at times, but it was all right.
Yeah, that was a good race. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I was leading by miles, and then red flag came out, and then lost it on the restart. So yeah, happy with the performance, not necessarily with the results, but we should move on, I think.
Congratulations, Will Heslop, 4 out of 4. Great weekend again.
Yeah, it couldn't have gone any better again. It's a bit of a messy race, but he'll come out on top again, which is always nice, and with no battle scars to show for it neither. So we're really happy.
We didn't think that we were going to be anywhere type of near the front 3. I was really told to get on the back of the front 3 and follow them round type of thing, and ended up where I'm running the same pace as them, and it was so nice to just flip between and away we go. It was brilliant.
The championship table led by Mark McAleer by 5 points from double winner Simon Clark. Pete Morris still in 3rd from James Cayley, Jake McAleer 5th, and then Richard Baston in 6th place. Class 2 still headed by Matthew Kyle Henny from Kevin Molyneux. Paul Simpson next up, got the DNF. Pops Richard Styring down into 4th. The Boxster Cup is as competitive as ever and still led by William Heslop by 27 points from Alistair Nelson, with Richard Forber in 3rd.
Well, very sadly, that's all we've got time for on today's round here at the Grand Prix circuit at Brands Hatch. We'll be back here in Kent on the Indy configuration a little bit later on in the year. Our next round is at Snetterton in Norfolk, and we hope you can join us then. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.